the great honor of introducing Mia Nieman, who is the founder of Amica Goldens. Not only is she one of the few AKC Breeder of Merits of Gold, which she got in 2023. She is now unbelievable. Gold is like huge, and she's bred 45 AKC champions. That's 3 gold uh, champions and 6 bronze, 17 grand champions, 19 champions, and 1 Canadian champion. And she's had 1 Canadian dual champion, 5 top 20 qualifiers, 1 top 20 winner, who was Barry Mary in 2013. And she's had 6 Show Dog Hall of Fames, 1 Best in Show winner, 3 Reserve Best in Show winners, 9 Best in Specialty winners. And she has had 9 outstanding producers, including 7 outstanding dams and 2 outstanding sires. And she's about to have 2 more with Rain and Cruz. And this is not just this is only a snapshot of who Mia is. She does a ton of performance. And this is kind of why she has decided to name this seminar Breeding for a Purpose with Purpose. And so the back end titles that she's done 48 back end titles on her dogs. And that was just in 2024 alone. Okay, let me repeat that. In 2024, she put 48 back end titles on her dogs. She has earned 44 back end titles on her dogs in 2023 and 35 back end titles in 2022. So she's done fast cat, agility, dock diving, scent work, rally. She's just done it all. So she is a very versatile person herself and a very knowledgeable breeder. And I cannot wait to hear what she has to say to you guys today. And mostly I'm just thankful for her expertise and her giving heart to give the club, the Golden Retriever Club, this time and share her knowledge with us. So welcome, Mia.
Well, hello, everybody. I'm really thrilled to be here. And today, I'm just talking about my journey as a breeder. I'm not trying to tell you the way it should be done or the only way it should be done. I've done this over 30 years, like 33 years with Golden Retrievers, and I love the breed. I'm passionate about them. And I'm just going to share with you some of the things that I do and my tricks and why I do it. I'm a passionate, what they call preservation breeder. I want the breed to be better going forward than when I started in it. Overriding myself is I never have a goal of winning anything. The goals are to maintain that wonderful Golden Retriever temperament and to breed healthy dogs that pass clearances, because I only sell dogs to families. I don't sell them to show people. I show all those dogs myself with my handlers and mostly with Colette Livingston. So that's kind of that. And so I'm just going to tell you about what I've done and how I got here. I started out with basically breeding other breeds and Siberian Huskies, and then I got to Goldens, and my husband said, get a good one. I did, but I went 8 years without winning a thing. I started showing those dogs, and I went 8 years winning nothing. I watched, I went, I observed. I finally realized I had to buy a different dog than my original dogs. I bought a puppy from Debbie Gower. I went to the puppy evaluation. Tanya Struble was there, and everybody was there picking and looking at puppies, and they said they're all alike. They're wonderful. They all move great. They have great temperaments, blah, blah, blah. But I just sat in the backyard and I watched them, and I kept thinking, oh, I'd really like that big-eared one over there with the big head, because I thought it was the one that moved the best. And Tanya came over to me and she said, well, how are they? And Debbie intervened and said, oh, they all move perfect. In that exact moment, I knew they didn't all move perfect. There were some that moved better than others. And so number one thing for picking dogs and being around dogs is to just look, watch, observe. Whether you're watching Dobermans in the ring or Goldens or Golden puppies, just sit back and watch, because you will learn, and you will know in your heart what is right, and you're going to trust that. So anyway, this topic is breeding these dogs for a purpose. The key word here is your purpose. One of my number one things I want to impart to everyone is whether you're breeding for conformation or whether you're breeding for performance dogs or whether you're breeding for the greatest pets that just complete families. Think about what you're doing and why. Think about why you're spending your money, your time, and your energy on this. What would your goal be? If you're going to breed conformation dogs, what is your goal? Best in show, the number one dog. If you want to breed performance dogs, do you just want the best agility dog, the best scent work dog, or do you want a combination? Or just want to breed good dogs? If you don't have a goal to strive for, you can't achieve it. And part of the reason I got all those titles on the back ends of my dogs every year is some of my goals are just that my dogs have to have amazing lives. I don't discard my dogs after they have championships or grands. Once my dogs are finished with that, I feel like I owe them the best life. Someone put it about Autumn that Julie gave her a life of adventure and love. I want all my older dogs, Wink, Gypsy, Autumn, to have lives of adventure and love. And that is why we do so much performance at the end of their conformation lives. It's kind of like my gift to them. But back to this, if you want to do conformation breeding, you need to breed with intention to your goal until it's not your goal. So think about what your goal is, because our breed is very difficult. It's not like we can have fun and go out there and show our dogs ourselves. We have to pay a handler. We have to have the best handler and they have to do it. Oh, I show myself in the puppy ring, and a lot of us do, and we do sweepstakes, and I kind of slump around. I'm a 71-year-old chubby gal, and I show my dogs myself in the puppy ring because I just want them to have exposure and experience. But all of us that have Goldens, if you really want to win in the conformation venue, you have to hire the best. It's either Carrie or Colette or it's Rebecca. And it's unfortunate that that is the way our ring is. We can't just take them in ourselves. So partly you have to have your goal set in your mind when you're breeding. What type of Golden you want to breed? What do you want it to look like? What kind of dog your handler that you use does the best with, and then you can breed with intention to that goal. Like I said, I spent many, many years just sitting and watching. I would go to the national and just watch who won. I'd watch puppies. I'd watch Tanya. I'd watch how, because Tanya is the best in Goldens, the best of the best. And she will probably always be that way. And I watch how she acts, how she handles her dogs, and what she does. And I was like, one of the things that Tanya does, and I'll just throw her out here, I don't know if she still does it, but back when I started, she farmed out a lot of dogs. Because a question people could ask me is, how do you pick your best dog? How do you know what is the winningest puppy? It's very difficult in Goldens. And I found out that what Tanya was doing was she was kind of farming out a lot of her dogs. A lot of people raised them up for her. Then they get a little older and then she would show them. I think that's going on a lot with people. It's very difficult to have a litter of 10 and pick the one dog that's going to win. It's like shooting minnows in a pond to pick Goldens. You do the best that you can. Okay, so I'm going to stop and pause right there because I'm going to go back to Chris and he's going to show you guys, not yet, but two things that are very important to me in breeding. They override me picking puppies, breeding puppies. Who do I go to? How do I talk about my dogs? And in doing performance. And I think if y'all just bear with me on that. Don't freak out because I show you graphs. I'm going to show you two graphs. It's very important that you keep these in your mind all the time because they are facts of nature. We can't change these two. And if in the back of your mind, you always remember these two things, they will give you a lot of knowledge and power. They will help you to go easier on yourself when you have failures. They will help you to go easier on your dogs first when you're in performance and you have a fantastic performance. And then you'll know when you go in the ring again, you might get an NQ and you're going to be like, uh-oh, that's okay. So Chris, could you show first that picture of a bell-shaped curve? Like while he's pulling it up, I will tell you that bell-shaped curve is why I always do a C-section. Always. This is why when I breed, most of the time I don't do naturals, and most of the time I do shipped semen and I do a surgical, because bitches die giving birth. Bitches die in whelp. My bitches are very important to me. I don't have a kennel. I don't have a run. Everybody lives in my house. So, okay, here's Chris's thing. If you kind of look at that tiny picture on the top, that is a bell-shaped curve. We were learning about that in biology 101. But if you were like me, you were thinking about a date, going out, and who you were going to be with the next couple days. But the bell-shaped curve, it impacts everything we do in dogs, our breeding programs, how we breed, because you can't fight this. Most of what you produce is in the middle of that bell. In every litter, it's going to be average. And there are two tails on the end of that bell, which means there might be one puppy who's not as nice, but if you do your breeding well, there will be an exceptional puppy. The exceptional puppy will be in the end of that tail on the right. So you have to keep that in mind in all of your performance. You're going to have some dogs that are outperformers, or you're going to have some times when you outperform. But most of the time, nature is going to revert you to that bell, which is average. The bell curve is why you got a C when everybody flunked, because the professor said, oh my God, we can't all flunk. So that bell-shaped curve I think about all the time. If you go to a breeder and you want to buy a puppy and they say, I have a litter of 10 and they're all best in shows and they're all fabulous, if you remember your bell-shaped curve, you will go, no, Mia said, it's a bell-shaped curve. A lot of them are going to be pretty good or maybe show puppies, but in that litter, there's an exception. There is an exception. If you keep your eyes open and you're open to possibilities, you're going to find that exceptional puppy. For example, my Berry Mary, she was fourth pick, not first, fourth pick. And it was my daughter Lindsay who saw her moved and picked her up over her head and said, keep her for me, Mom. If you breed 100 years, you'll never breed a dog that moves like this. And I'm like, no, we can't keep that. It's 6 pounds at 8 weeks. And its sister that everybody likes is 14 pounds and her name is Jingles. And 5 of the best breeders in the state picked Jingles, but not Lindsay and me. We're like, no, Berry Mary is special. At 6 pounds, she's tiny, but it's different. So anyway, this is this bell-shaped curve. It affects everything I do when I pick puppies. It affects my thinking when I'm planning a litter. It affects why I do surgical inseminations, because I want to have the best chance to have the most puppies. I don't want them to come out naturally, because in a natural delivery of 10, you might have 2 that die on the way out. And what if you did that whole litter for all that money, time, energy, and effort, and the 2 that die were in the tail? There's only one Berry Mary to a litter, even if there's 5 or 6 champions in that litter. So that is why that is important to me, and I have it in my mind all the time. And then the next chart is the regression chart. And that is the other thing I keep in my mind all the time when I breed. And Chris can find the regression chart, or I can hold it up. But regression is another principle of finance, of nature. It's actually a principle of genetics. Regression towards the mean means this is a chart of everybody's diet, right? Hands up, who's ever had a diet like this? It's not like you lose a straight line down or straight line up, gain, gain, gain. You go up, you come down. You go up, you come down. You cannot fight this, but nature will revert to the mean. That is why if 2 tall, 8-foot tall humans have babies, their kids aren't going to be tall. It is an actual fact. And Sir Francis Galton, during the 19th century, he wrote that publication, regression towards mediocrity, which we now call the mean, that says in people, hereditary stature doesn't keep getting taller. The offspring of really tall people will probably be shorter. They will revert back to this. So why am I telling you about this? Anybody who's a dog trainer, anybody who does performance, anybody who wants to breed a litter needs to remember to impart this to people. So like, for example, the other day my Wink went out in a master exterior class. There were 22 participants. She got #1 in 3 minutes. There was only one other dog that qualified with 22 participants. Wink was one, the rest didn't qualify. I knew in my heart the day we did that was not going to happen again for a long time, because Wink is a natural dog. She will revert to the mean. She's not going to keep outperforming. It's not going to happen. And sure enough, the next time we did it, she NQ'd. And I'm not saying you shouldn't strive for the best. I'm just saying if we have performance things or goals, or we're doing dock diving and we're going farther and farther, don't be upset with your dog if all of a sudden he has the best run ever and then you don't double Q. It's expected. It's nature. And I don't even find that my trainers remind me of that. And I have to constantly remind me of that with my dogs. And if you're breeding, every litter will not be better. Every litter is not going to give you the champions that you want. You're going to have an outstanding litter, and the next one's not going to be so good. And I'm telling you, remember, this is a fact that you can't fight. If you use it for your power. Why is that? Some of the worst litters I ever bred, I looked at them, I studied them, like, why don't I like this? I put time and energy and effort. I bred to the best stud dog, but the litter's not making me that happy with what my goal was or what I really want to produce. Use that to your power, analyze and try to think about why it's not as good. And every single time I produced a litter that wasn't great, the next one was better, because I didn't sit there and sulk. I just thought about what went wrong or what I wanted to change. So you can use that fact of what this is all the time in your breeding your conformation dogs, so that you can keep striving over the years to produce better and better, remembering all the time that the goal of breeding in conformation is to produce better than the parents. That is your goal. Whatever better means, you're going to think about, because I told you in the beginning, you have to set your goals, think about what you want to achieve. So better for you may not be better for your neighbor. Does that make any sense? Sort of, yes. Okay, that's enough with the pictures. I'm gonna very quickly just throw out some other ideas I've had during all the years that I've bred. Keeping in mind that one of the hardest things to do is to consistently keep breeding again and again, better and better dogs, and to not allow yourself to stop just because you have some difficult times or you don't produce the quality of what you want. I have this saying that I got from the boxing world, that's one step, one punch, one round at a time. Keep repeating it. You repeat that when you have a litter of puppies and one puppy comes out and it has 2 heads. You had that? I've had that. You repeat that when one puppy comes out and its legs are on backwards, and you have your young children who see that and they're like, Mommy, can you fix it? Because mommies are supposed to fix everything. Nope. You keep going. You don't dwell on the bad puppies. The dead puppies are the puppies you can't fix. You just one step, one round, one punch at a time, and you keep going forward. If you do these things, in 33 years, you will still be breeding. And then again, it goes back to your goals. What are your goals? Why are you breeding? What do you want to produce? And let me clearly say, if you just want to produce best in show winning dogs, I think that's fine. I never wanted to do that. I just wanted to produce dogs that complete people's families. And I really believe that golden retrievers give us a clue of God's love here on earth. I think they show us unconditional love like no other breed. And so when we put them into families, they complete the families. And it's like we're also doing God's work by breeding them. Okay, first thing, I'm just going to throw out some stuff here and then I can go to some questions. But above all else, in my breeding program, in yours, in performance, in everything we do, God is in control. That's number one. Number two, people are more important than dogs. God help me, I still have to learn this, but it's so difficult. It's so difficult to be friends in Goldens, to try to achieve good things and to not ruin your friends. I am still working on this every day of my life, but people are more important than dogs.
Amen.
In every way and all the time. Colleen, hello, honey.
Hi, sweetie.
God is in control of everything you do. Another thing is, you don't do anything in breeding in a vacuum. Constantly, if you are breeding litters, you need to thank the stud dog owner. I try to do that in every ad I ever read. For the longest time, every time I posted a win, I would try to thank the stud dog owner because I have mostly a bitch line. Without the stud dog owner, we're nothing. And if they won't share with us and enjoy the process, we are nowhere. You also have to keep thanking your mentors. Without them, you're nowhere. And then you have to keep thanking the people in your tribe, the people that are close to you. You may not always get along with all of them, but you know they're there. They're in a pinch. You hold them close and you help each other. Through thick and thin, you're trying to keep that tribe going through the entire time that you're doing Goldens. Remember all the time, I know I never accomplished a thing without all these other people in my life. And that includes a big heck yeah to my daughter, who I was breeding a lot of wonderful dogs. And then she took me a step above where I was. So that's what I'm going to say about that. I do believe that if you want to breed the all-around dog, breeding to back end titles can make a big difference. I think that every time I do a breeding, I try to have a goal for that breeding, and you should have a goal for your breeding. Now, that means you could be doing a litter breeding just to sell puppies. You could be breeding a litter for your best in show. You could be wanting to breed a litter that is the best moving, biggest reach dogs ever. You could be wanting to do a litter that is great in scent work. That will help drive you to find the ultimate stud dog for you. That is why I keep going back to what are your goals? All of those goals I just said are great. None are better than others. Just keep the goal in mind, and then that will help you seek out what you are looking for and seek out help from the people that can help you do that. Another one, we have to all keep this in mind. You can't be successful or keep doing this if we're not having fun. That is one of those head checks that you have to keep reminding yourself of, because trust me, breeding Goldens is very difficult to keep doing it over time. And somehow at the end of the day, having fun has to be there, which is why more and more of us are doing performance sports. And since 2016, although I have my handlers out there showing my dogs, I myself am driving myself to do all these performance things because I have a ton of fun with all of it, and so do my dogs. Another thought is if you do a repeat breeding, you had a great litter, you're doing a repeat breeding, I'll tell you, you are not going to get the same thing you got in the first litter. Nope. Expect something different. If in the first breeding you got a great girl, the great puppy's going to be a boy in the next one. If you keep your mind open to that there might be another great thing in the next litter, and you are open to it might be the different from what you had, you're going to find that wonderful puppy. Another thing that I've done in my breeding program is that when the puppies stand in stack at 3 weeks, this is awful, but I can feel them and feel whether or not they have prosternum, and I can also feel the return of upper arm angle, and I do not believe that changes. There are people who say their front will drop and it will come, and I've never seen it. At 3 weeks, if they stand balance and I can feel prosternum in the front, that's it. It's not going to change. I note that. My puppies do not wear collars in the whelping box because all my puppies live in the house and I'm with them every minute, and I can pretty much tell 10 puppies apart by 2 weeks. And I study them so much that I can tell they're different. It's really easy to do. If there's 6 boys and 4 girls, you've already separated them that way. Then you separate them by color, and boom, you already know what you have running around, and you can start watching them in the litter box and see which ones stand with balance. And that's pretty much how I start to pick my puppies. The only other thing we look at is when they're 8 weeks, the movement, because you can't tell that before then, and even then, it's hard to see it. Another thing, every person and every single dog you have in your house has certain gifts. It's up to you as the breeder or the trainer to find them. If you're doing a performance thing with the dog and he just doesn't want to weave, after 2 years, you need to find another sport. It's nothing wrong with the dog. And I mean it. Handlers will not always tell you to quit. Performance handlers don't like to quit. They're wonderful people, and trainers in performance, they like you to keep going, train again. Seriously, if you're breeding dogs and you have more than one in your house, there will be something that those dogs really thrive at doing. My little Blissy could not dock dive to save her life. She did it for me. I actually had to cheat and stuff a piece of meat inside of her ball that I threw so she'd jump off the dock at 5 feet, and everybody cheered when she got her 5th dive, and we were like, whoa, we're not coming back. But she loved agility. It was up to me to find the performance sports that my dog wanted to do. All right, now I think I'm going to go to some of the questions, or if y'all have questions. I'll tell you this other thing. Give your veterans or your older dogs a better life than they had when they were doing conformation championship. Just put that as a goal at the back of your mind and see if you can't do it. Because I learned with my dogs, it was really good for me to try to give them wonderful lives when they were done showing. And that's how you end up getting those outstanding dams. Because without those extra little points, you can't do it. The most important thing I'm going to tell you is the most important back-end titles you can get on a dog are an MRS degree and an MOM. So, although I bred dogs the whole time I was working, I had a professional career. I'm a UT MBA, and I'm a Plan 2 graduate, and I had very high-level, stressful jobs. But my best jobs were raising my kids and being the folder lady. And being a mom, for all of you, is the most important thing you will ever do with dogs. So you just kind of try to do dogs as a side point while you're raising your kids, because they are the most important gift you will ever get from God. And also, keeping your husband in your marriage is extremely important. And if you're gone to dog shows all the time, that is very difficult to do. So first you do the MRS, then you do the MOM. And then when that's done, you can put your time and energy into breeding the best litters ever, breeding your champions, or doing all the performance things that you see other people doing. But don't worry about it. There's a time and a place for everything. And that's probably one of my most important things. Oh, and I'm going to show you. I don't know if you can see this. This is Jif squeeze packets. If you have a dog and it won't do agility or it will not do weaves, I'm telling you overnight, if they weave properly and you squeeze this into their mouth, it solved all of my problems. Every dog will have a different trigger, but for me, that was it. And another thing, I don't like to hawk things. I don't get money for this, but this particular product is mushrooms and turmeric, and it will make an older dog brilliant. If you're doing scent work and you really want to have, this given to my Winky and our Autumn made them run around like puppies, do the zoomies in the front yard at 10, 11, and 12, and just never get tired. Julie Humble did a lot of research on this. I don't know what it is, but apparently mushrooms really help dog brains, and they help with energy.
Can you turn the bottle so we can see the front?
Yeah, what's the name of it again?
Vet Smart Formulas.
Thank you.
I'm telling you, 5 days, 2 scoops in the morning on this. And Julie Humble did most of the research on this, and she put her dogs on it. And then I'm like, nah, that doesn't work. 5 days of your dog taking this, you will text me. You'll say, Mia, she won't stop doing the zoomies in the front yard. I can't stop it. And she's queuing all the time. I don't know what's in this, but it works. And the peanut butter works for dogs who will not weave. It was like overnight, squeeze peanut butter. It fit in my pocket. All the other treats did not work.
Can humans take it?
Actually, hold on. Yes, wait. We are all taking this. It's called 5 Defenders, and this is human grade mushrooms.
Nice.
I'm taking this 3 a day, because mushrooms sort of help with cancer and all of that. So, I mean, I don't know if that works. I don't have the Zumi. Well, maybe I do. But here's the deal. This other thing for the dogs has been amazing. I mean, the difference I saw in Wink was shocking. And Autumn, shocking. Just the older dogs. So the mind, the energy, everything. So if anybody has any questions, I will entertain those. Or if Marissa, did I answer all your things?
I think you did an amazing job, Mia. Thank you
Well,
so
I
much
just-
for you're gifted at that for sure. You're so charismatic, and just the knowledge that you have is just incredible. So I think one of the questions, how do new breeders find mentors that can help them purposely breed dogs?
Well, for one thing, this club is loaded with them. You
Well,
would be one.
what's the right way for somebody that's new to approach somebody
Well,
that might be
I can help
intimidating to
anybody
them?
who wants help. My daughter Lindsay will help, I think. I'm not volunteering her, but she can. Colleen Maddox is a wealth of information. You are too. They just need to reach out and say, help me. How I got mentors, I will just tell you, is my journey. Journey got her championship, and I did what a lot of people do. You look around and it's time to breed your dog. And I said to Diane Mueller, who do I breed my dog to? And she looked at me and she said, I'm going to tell you once. I'm going to tell you who to breed your dog to, and I'm never going to help you again because you're smart and you need to start doing your own research and you need to look at this health clearances and look at your dog and you will find it. So here's the first dog you should breed to. And she told me. And I did the breeding and I got a good litter, but I thought something was wrong. And then I started doing more homework. And then Helen Dorrance was also a mentor of mine. She's she's the other breeder of Merit Gold in the state for confirmation Goldens. And she was adamant. She was just adamant. She's like, Mia, you girls need to do your own homework. You need to know every single thing about the clearances behind your dogs. You need to go do your own research and figure out who's going to give you a bad heart, who's going to give you hip dysplasia, I mean, she was willing to help, but insistent that we do some of the work on our own. She's also, though, a wealth of information. She'll help you along for quite a long time. And I will help people, as you can tell. I like chatting. And I don't expect people to listen to me. This is the other thing. Ask for mentors, ask people for help, and ask for an opinion. Don't get mad at people if they give you an opinion, because they're just telling you what they think and what they see. Just take what other people tell you and file it away and figure you're not going to use most of what they tell you, but you will assimilate. Everybody in this club is really smart. You will assimilate all of this information and you will come up with your own way. Over time, you assimilate knowledge from mentors, and a good mentor's not always going to tell you what you want to hear. They're just not. I remember one time I had a great boy puppy, and Helen told me to sell it. Sell it. You don't need it. You need to sell it now because then you'll breed bigger dogs. And I fought with her on that. And sure enough, I did sell it. Well, she was right. But she was telling me things I didn't want to hear, and I sort of did it. So just reach out to other people that you see at a show. Say, I have some questions. Can you help me? They'll always give you suggestions on who to breed to, but they probably can't lead you by the hand to every breeding that you do. And you can ask people to evaluate your litters. And that evaluation really helps. And any other questions, like how do I do this or how do I do that? This club has lots of people with tons of knowledge just sitting there. Right, Marissa?
That's a lot of helpful advice. Well, it's hard whenever you're starting off, and everything seems, intimidating and difficult. And like you were kind of talking a little bit about whenever you have the challenges in breedings and your heart's broken and you're just trying to make a good companion for other people. And, I mean, I just think it's wonderful the things that you've said about that and the points that you've said.
You just keep thinking about this bell curve, the fact that it's hard and most dogs are in the middle. And we're doing this, all of this we do one step at a time, one breeding at a time. You breed your one litter and then you look at it and you try to breed another one the best you can. If you try to get a goal about what do you want to change in that, then it can help you. Ask mentors or stud dog people. I want to change X in my bitch. Do you know how I can do that? Give them a directed question. That's really helpful. And when I was starting out, I always would say, okay, you have a nice bitch, you want to breed her? Study her and find 3 things about her that are fantastic that you want to keep. Find 3 things that you want to change. And that's how you'll start your search for a good stud dog. A lot of times people will say, but my bitch is perfect. There's nothing to change. Back to the drawing board. Have a more open eye or get somebody to help you give suggestions for things you can change, because every dog, no matter how nice it is, has stuff you can change. And there's going to be things you need to keep on your dog. You breed to the wrong stud dog and you will lose the good things that you have. It's not foolproof, so you just keep trying. And another thing is everybody has something that they can't draw the line against. Like some people really want a beautiful face. So you need to go find a stud dog that still has a pretty face. I really emphasize movement in a dog. I don't like dogs that move wide at me. If you could produce a dog that had a really top rear end assembly and was good going away, I seriously value that. So that's something I would value in a stud dog. That doesn't mean you're going to get it in your puppies. Because breeding dogs is like so much more difficult than a lot of things. There's too many genes. And canine data, when we used to have pictures, it was really valuable because I would tell people when you're breeding to a stud dog, oh, just don't even look at him. Look as many generations back as they have pictures and study those pictures, because that is what you're going to get in your puppies. So when you have a puppy in the whelping box and it's got a hump on its back and other people are saying, oh, that's nothing, it'll grow out of it. You're going, no. Uncle Bebo on daddy's side had a hump in his back on his canine data picture and that never went away. So ever since COVID, we don't really have all of the pictures anymore, so it's kind of hard to see what the dogs look like. But there's a lot of genes in breeding dogs, so it makes it difficult. You're home.
I dropped Kelly off. I still got another hour to go.
Oh, well, Mia, can you tell us all about a favorite journey you've had with one of your own dogs that you've read?
A favorite journey?
Mm-hmm.
I have too many. I will just tell you, I mean, when I had Journey, she was my foundation dam that I got from Debbie Gower. She was out of Tanya's stuff. I thought I'd never breed another dog as nice. And then I bred Bliss, and then I said I could never breed another dog as nice. What I told you in the beginning is, yes, I did breed other dogs from Bliss. I bred to great, amazing stud dogs that gave me amazing puppies. It's because every dog you have in your house has gifts. It's our job to find them. It's like finding the gifts in our kids. It's like the gifts are there. So you'll see, what are you going to make as a performance dog or whatever. Anyway, I've had many amazing dogs. My most amazing journey with dogs is with my Wink. And my most amazing job with Wink is that she was a champion and a grand champion and winning from the classes in the breed ring, but I wanted to do performance with her. And so that started her journey. And she has so many titles at the end of her name. I put every one of them on myself, and I didn't know how to do that. So it was the journey of figuring out how to do that. And here's the thing, maybe I'll end it on this. I do agility. Winky has master agility titles. I'm getting pretty slow, and I tell people I'm one run away from a fall, and I'll never do it again. And I wouldn't even describe myself anymore as running. Haha. The dogs are trained to do it 5 days a week. I train many, many hours a day, maybe 4 to 5 hours a day. But Wink and I have learned how to communicate, and I now really value scent work more than I do all the other performance events that I do. Scent work at the lower levels, it's just fun and whatever, but when you get up to the higher master levels of scent work, I think you find the ultimate communication with the dog, and that is why my journey with Wink is the most important and deep relationship that I have. In agility, dogs are trained. You train them to do this, you train them to follow your hands. They learn oral words of what to do, flip, switch, whatever, tunnel, okay. In scent work, it's not trained. It's ultimate communication of that dog looking at you and relaying what it wants to tell you. Like learning to read a blind room with a dog who wants to please you is extremely difficult. And if you have a dog like Wink, she likes to play with me. She will sometimes point to a rock, and I'll look at her and I'll go, now Wink, is the scent in that rock? And she will smile and jump up in the air and go, no, it's the one next to it. And I had to wait to read her and go, yes, it's the one next to it. I mean, the longer you do scent work and you're really one-on-one reading what your dog is telling you, it's the ultimate communication with these animals. And I think that's where we're going on all of them. So I've really enjoyed my journey with Wink the most of all my dogs, and we're not done. We're not done. So I don't know.
Yeah, thank you so much for just being here and telling everybody your knowledge and everything. It's just super sweet of you to do this for us.
So
Oh, wait, someone's asking me a question. I don't know if
we still have 15 minutes. So if people want to ask questions from the floor, would you be okay?
Yeah.
We have a question or chat. Is how do you balance gifts against weakness when planning a litter?
Easy. It's what I said at the beginning of the talk. It's your goal. What is your goal when you're planning a litter? You have to have the goal in mind for what you're trying to achieve when you breed this dog. Do you want a conformation dog? Do you want a performance dog? Or do you want a litter that's the balance of them too? So you're going to know which gifts you're going to emphasize or which weaknesses you're going to try to minimize. Does that make any sense? So like if I'm planning a litter and I want to produce a beautiful moving litter, then I'm going to have to emphasize structure and movement on the stud dog that I pick. Or maybe I'm not going to be able to breed that out of that litter if it's got too many weaknesses in its structure. The question probably needs to be a little more specific.
Do we have to, can we ask questions?
You can just ask her,
Have to
yeah.
type it.
No, you can ask.
So Mia, a long time ago, you,
A long time ago.
you would tell me you can change a head in a generation, but you can't change a front. It takes 3 generations to change a front.
Mm-hmm.
You can't always tell the rear in the whelping box, but you can tell the front. Do you want to go ahead and maybe point to those strengths and weaknesses and what to look for, what you can change, when
It's
you
like
can
our
change
fronts
it?
have gotten so bad, I don't even know how to find a front anymore. If you just, it's hard to find a stud dog with a great front. They're all dead, so you got to use frozen if you're going to go find them. It doesn't really matter, I guess, if they have a great front. They need to have a great return of upper arm angle if they're going to move well.
Mhm.
And the ring has changed. The paradigm of showing has changed. When we started, they didn't value a head as much as they do now. The judges now, they're looking at the head first, and if it isn't a mush face that they love, they're not giving you a chance to move. It's kind of like the things I used to say, you have to constantly be changing yourself and reevaluating. But if you just look at what's winning in the ring, it's not dogs with good return of upper arm or great prosternum.
Or
There's
good
one
movement.
here and one there, and it's hard to find stud dogs that give you that. Then
Yeah.
if you don't get a great head, it's not going to matter anymore if you have that. I don't even know what the answers are to that.
Yeah.
You might know better than me.
No, I think we've lost movement.
There are no great moving dogs. The ones
None.
that are, they're dead. They're in my frozen and you're frozen.
Yeah.
That's where it is. So yeah, we've totally lost it because we lost the angle. They're all straight in the return of upper arm, and without that fulcrum, they cannot move. And we've gotten complacent with it to the point that I'm not even sure people can really see it. Can you see this picture?
Yes. Better.
Nobody moves like that anymore. That was Mary Mary.
Yeah.
She's moving so far reach in front of her. It's
Move
way
it up a
past the
little more.
nose.
Lift it
Yeah.
up a little more. Better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, lift it up a little
Way
bit.
past her nose.
Mhm.
Back in the day when Colleen and I were showing a lot of dogs, a lot of them moved like this. Now, Barry Mary was exceptional in that one regard, but she was tiny and small, and she looked like a sporting field dog. That
Mhm.
was it. It was like the first almost field dog to win the top 20. Never happened again. I can tell rears when they start moving around the whelping box and they start jumping over those things. But mostly you can't tell till they start gating around on their own. We've lost our rears too. They're
Mhm.
getting sickle hawked. There's not a lot of
Cowhawk.
power in the rears. And I'm to blame. You can see my dogs showing and you're like, well, look, Mia's got them too. The breed has changed. The paradigm has changed for us to go just even watch because it's all breeder owner handled now. So you won't be able to go to a show other than the one specialty day and sit and talk to breeders. They don't come.
Mhm.
They just don't come and sit because it's all handlers.
Mia,
there's
somebody asked the question, how do you gracefully decline a request for a breeding?
gracefully. You know what? I'm not the person to ask that because I'm brutally honest. And you know what? You don't ever decline it. Come on, guys. Y'all already know the answer to that. You say, we're all here to help each other, right? So if you're someone who only has 2 breedings left of their frozen and you want to keep it for yourself, that's a valid reason to decline. If you're someone who has 5 breedings left and you really want to find the special dog because you want a puppy back from it, that's valid. You don't even have to be gracious. If you look at that girl dog, and I've said this to people before, that the stud dogs you have will not do the best for her, it's okay to suggest someone else that you know that might have a stud dog that could do good things for her and make her litter better. Again, it goes back to a goal. What is that person trying to do? You can't, oh, you're not going to like this. You can't make a silk purse from a sow's ear. That is why I was in the ring for 8 years and never won anything. I just didn't. I had to go out and buy a better bitch. And I didn't want to really do that. But finally I thought, I've seen enough that I know what I want, and I liked Tanya's stuff and the Rush Hill stuff, and I wanted something that came from that. So it's okay to stop and turn and reevaluate where you're going and also why you're doing this, because this has all become a tremendous amount of money now. Tremendous amount of money. It's unfortunate that even when I started, you could still show your own Goldens and win and have some fun and do all of that. Now it's pretty much just handler driven, so you pretty much are writing checks. Although there are some people we know who've taken their dog and put $1,000 on it, Mr. Christopher. It can be done.
Hush, baby. Sorry. my baby see the squirrel out in the yard. So
Uh-oh.
it is fun, but it's hard as heck anymore. I mean, I wish that it weren't that way. I wish our dogs had better fronts. There are a lot of things that I wish. And, you know, how do we, is there any way to unwind this? Or we just have to just give up and say, we're never going to get fronts back?
I keep trying. I just keep trying, and I'm forcing myself to just show less. We have to be mindful of it, but I guess I'm not the person that knows what the answer to that is, just because this is such a money-driven thing.
Mhm.
The breeder owner handlers are the only ones that can keep going because they don't have to charge themselves. So they're gonna have to be the ones that put in the dogs that have the structure that we used to have. Here's the end of the thing. It's like I said in the beginning, what is your goal? I never had just a single goal of winning. I like to win, but it wasn't the end game. I was never willing to win to give up passing clearances, ever. I was never willing to breed a dog that was, no, I was never willing to go. And I was never willing to try to win, to breed to something, to give up temperament. No, that's the hallmark of our breed. So those were the lines that I would never cross. We have to maintain that aw shucks, wonderful, non-reactive, I'm never going to be grumpy temperament as best we can. And when we produce things that aren't right, we take a step back and try to breed to somebody else to tap it down. That's it.
I applaud you for that. That is, I really love your attitude about that, because that's not what a lot of people are doing. The first time I
Well,
saw,
it isn't. And I'm not perfect, and they're not perfect either. But if you try to keep it as a goal, and if your goal is not to just win, but that you love this breed and I'm gonna be leaving it soon. I'm 71. So I have to leave it at least as good, or if the goal was to leave it better than when I found it. But that's hard. That's the old Boy Scout adage. But at
well,
least they should have their temperaments intact, and they should try to be as healthy as they can be for our pet people and us.